Welcome back, everybody. Beaver Model Builds, Part 3 of the BF-110E from Eduard, 172 scale, and we're carrying on with the primer coat. All right, made it through all of the masking on the canopy and the main assembly here. Now we're going to start coating everything that's down. This is the etched 2 lacquer primer. I've got a bunch of the etched 2 that I am experimenting with. They're my first batch, and I really do like how smooth this stuff works. When you're working with the lacquers, you want to make sure you're ventilated, so I've got my little vent table going on here. Picked it up on Amazon. Just getting started before we get into building everything too crazy again, but this hobby is addicting, so you will end up dropping dollars to pick up some stuff. Even my airbrush right here, still not a big deal. I haven't gone crazy on it or anything yet, but you can get a good little compressor and kind of a cheap airbrush on the Amazon or online for in and around, anywhere from $50 to $80. That's Canadian too, by the way, kids. And so there it is. There's the primer layer right there. Looks pretty smooth. I love the way this goes on. Neutral gray XF53. This is going to be for dark spots on the insides of the wheel wells. I'll also be using it on the sides when I do my dotting. But this is straight out of the jar. Naturally thinned down with some XF20 thinner. Still lays a nice matty coat. Now we're coming back with the XF19 dye gray. Again, basically right out of the jar. I'm not doing any mixing. That's coming later. For this airbrush, I'm finding it is about a 70-30 mix, I go a little bit heavier on the thinner just to make sure that it's going to come out of this brush. Using the enamel paint is, it stuff's pretty thick, so you gotta make sure you thin it down enough that you can get it to spray. This is the first coat that I'm filming, but I will come back and do a second coat after that. Coming back to some pre-shading, I guess you would call this, or some pre-whitening on the panels. Coming back with some XF2, this is flat white. And just going inside of the rectangles. Doing a little light, show some little bit of light wear when we start laying down the colors. This is the XF53, same color I used inside of the wheel wells. There is so many different shades of gray on this model that eventually we're going to have to start mixing them up. But these are straight out of the bottles so far. Now we're going to get into doing the dots on the side, and a lot of the dots were basically just the same gray with different levels of XF1 or XF2, black or white. To change the shade a little bit on them, up and down each side. This was hard to do with the airbrush and wasn't super happy with the results, but good enough for now. All right, now we're going to do the roller putty for masking. This is a product I've tried on the last couple of models, and I really like this stuff. So if you let it sit on the models for an hour, a couple hours, it'll actually sink in and make real crispy lines. If you want to make the fuzzy line, then you can spray it right when it first goes on. Neat product. And you can use it with the tape or all on its own like this. And it does not grab the paint or peel or any of the other nasty stuff that you can get with masking tape sometimes. Like I says, we are going to be using both. And if you can use it, it'll stretch, it'll go into your different shapes. This is Play-Doh for adults, really. in any flat surface you have. I usually use a ruler, and you can really crisp the lines up afterwards. This is the standard Eastern Front Arctic scheme with some mottling, apparently is the word, or oversprays for the dots up and down the sides. That is apparently what they call them. Doing most of the basking here. So we've got the speed sped up, but this is getting into the stages of the model where you really start to see it come together and start appreciating all of that work that you've been doing prior. Here you can see where I'm using that ruler to make the edges nice and smooth. Okay, cut some time off, and here's the finished product. Now, for this first color, this is technical. First time I'm getting into mixing the enamels because I don't have any Mr. Color or Valo, but after I checked with Grok online and let it know which paints I had available, it was actually able to come up with a mix for me. So we're going to start off with the XF25. This is the gray we used on the bottom. And we're going to come in with some XF1 flat black. And this is pretty much by eyeball, so I'm just going right by the instructions beside me there to try and get this color in close. So it took some hit and miss, and there really is no, recipe formula I can think of, just kind of watching what I'm doing here. You saw me come in there with the disposable eyedropper there, and works really good for mixing small amounts of paint, or even if you want to mix inside the bowl of your airbrush, you can just pull one of those droppers out like that and squeeze it in there and out a few times. Works really good. All right, now we're mixing in the XF2 white. I could do a couple of shots of that. Pretty dark. This is going to be the lighter color of the two shades, so we gotta bring this back a little bit. It's interesting when you put white back into a darker color, how it gives it that creamy effect. And that's kind of what we're looking for with the German paints. They worked a lot more with the grays, and I should have prepared myself a little bit better when I was planning to do this model, and got a couple of I'm still in the Tamiya enamels and haven't gone too far out of that range, except for my old testers that I've got lying around, and I haven't really played with acrylics or the other paints yet. I'll get there. Apparently you can do some very good shading with the oils. Last color in the mix here was XF23, a little bit of light blue. I don't know, light blue. That's what they told me in the mix there from Grok. It's fun. All right, but so far it seems to be doing the trick. All right, liking the way this color is turning out. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit more and then spray it. All right. Here we go. This is for the lighter of the two colors in this scheme, but the only way I could really describe, I'm not sure what the color, there's going to be a color name for it out there, I'm sure. And yes, Grok could probably tell me. But here we go. We're just going on with the application now. Back in the booth, spraying the enamel. This again is about a 70-30, 60-40, somewhere in there. Took us a little bit more than half the tenor for the ratio here. Just enough that it's going to come out and you're going to be able to get some shine off of it. That's what you're looking for when you're spraying. You want to be able to catch that little glossy layer Make sure you can push or pull that right across your spray face. I'm telling you, I am simplifying that. There's painters out there probably screaming at me about that line. Here we go. And like we said about leaving that putty on for a little while, and it will make really crisp lines without any risk of peeling. Coming together nice. It's interesting the way the German camouflage seems to use a lot less curved lines and a lot more straight edges like this. The Luftwaffe used straight edge, angular, or splinter patterns on the aircraft like the BF-110 rather than soft, wavy, or fully irregular curves. This was a deliberate choice driven by the optical effectiveness and production practicality. And, I don't know, camouflage philosophy. We can thank Grok for that little bit of information. Always nice to have a literal encyclopedia of everything in the freaking world at your fingertips. All right, here we go. Let's do the reveal here. We're going to start peeling off this putty, and like I said, the way it seems to stick somehow and then come off, and you just have to ball the stuff up again and it's ready to go. Amazing stuff. Love it. It's like silly putty back in the day, but leaves no residue and is really soft on your edges. You can peel this off, and it's the risk of it taking any of the paint or edges with it is pretty small. You usually end up getting some pretty tight lines. We're going to have to come back and do a little bit of a touch up later on, but I'm going to use the masking tape for the next layer just to make sure we can get those lines nice and straight and crispy. I'm using a 3M version of the masking tape from Automotive, just a little thin strips, but Revell makes something very similar to this thin line tape. I might have to pick some of that up next time to try it out, but this stuff worked good. You can even take full-size masking tape and just cut it into strips if you want to make thinner pieces. And there we go. Now all I'm going to do is outline with the masking tape, and then I'll come back with the putty and fill in the gaps, like you see there. Saves you on tape. Here I'm matching up this scheme as I go here, doing almost the entire model right on top of the instructions. This is, I think it's a nice glossy paper, so it actually works as a good little shield. And you get to see exactly what you're doing. Wasn't able to get the paint to match up exactly. As you can see there, it's a little more green in the instructions, but good enough for now. This is the first time doing a German model, and this is not an easy paint job. One thing I have been doing is leaving a little bit of a gap on the lines, so wherever it's not straight, I'm going to be able to come back and spray those lines back straight again. So I'm going to overlap into the lighter color, the lighter gray, with the darker gray here. This one is the XF53 neutral gray that I've taken down a little bit further with the XF1 flat black. Same as before, just basically adding dots until I get the color. And I even put in a smidgen of cockpit green as well in this one. But again, like I said, primary color is the gray, the XF53 with just dots. And there it is. After we sprayed it all on, the darker of the two colors, now the magical reveal again, and this time a little bit more satisfying with that masking tape on top as well. And these are our main camo colors coming out here. After all of that work, putting all these lines down, this is very satisfying. Now, even if you do get a little bit of peel up in some spots, it did by the engine there, you can still always come back with a brush later on. And when you do custom paints like this, it's always good to make sure you keep your mix cups wet so you can still dip a brush in there and come back and do some touch-up work afterwards if you need to. Really good idea. All right, we know that the first layer went down good. The masking tape so far hasn't been peeling up any pieces. Lines are looking pretty crispy. That's what you want. All right, doing the whole veil here. There it is. 2 separate shades of gray up on the top of the wing to make that camo pattern there. Going to get into a little bit of detail work here. The cockpit was pretty detailed, but now we have the landing gear, and we have got some tiny little pieces to go together for this. And we're going to slam them all together. Tweezers are exceptionally necessary when you're dealing with the little tiny pieces like this. Takes a little while to get proficient with these guys again. Get rid of your shaky finger syndrome. All right. There we go. There's the structure. Now we got some more of this photo etch to go in on the landing gear for that little, I'm not sure what the part is. It's almost like an absorber for the front of the gear. We're going to get that in there. There it is. All right, I'm going to splash some paint on the gear doors, a little bit more on the underside. Doing the insides of the gear doors with the brush. You could spray this, but I kind of like the uneven, broken up pattern that you can get. Eduard kit comes with the mask for the wheels as well, inside ring and outside ring. Using the old Tester's flat rubber. Got some silver and a little bit of flat black on that gear for some realism. And there is the main colors put on for the BF-110E. Looks excellent so far. Next video, we're going to cover the decals and weathering, and then we get into final assembly. And that'll be it. Thanks for watching so far.